Welcome back, Nofap soldiers. Let's go ahead and talk about our best friend, urges. The reason we all relapse. Let's try to gain a better understanding of them by understanding that they come in 3 phases. And when we understand and master these phases, it'll be a lot easier for us to travel the Nofap path. So firstly, we have the pre-urge phase. That's phase 1. In phase 1, we find ourselves not really aware that the urges are there. However, what we want to do is we want to put practices in place to ensure that the urges don't arise, and if they do arise, they're less likely to be as intense. Things such as not eating spicy foods, things such as meditation, things such as any type of pranayama or breathing exercises. The key word for this phase is prevention. We want to prevent the urges from occurring. We can also say being proactive is what this phase is all about. Stage 2 is what we call the during urge phase. In this phase, we find ourselves suffering generally the greatest because we're all familiar with this phase. That's when the urge is there. It's fully blown. It's taken over our mind. The key word in this phase is change. Not transmute, not transform, but change. You want to change exactly what you're doing because the urge is inside of you. And at that phase, you got to change. I don't care if you're laying in bed, get your ass up. I don't care if you are sitting down, stand up, walk around, take a cold shower, do some push-ups, do something, but you need to change. More importantly, change your mind, because the more you allow that urge to take advantage of you and seep into your mind, it starts dropping little minuscule bits of dopamine that increase in higher and higher amounts, and then eventually you find yourself succumbing. Stage 3, most people don't even realize it exists, but it's the post-urge phase. During this phase, you may have just gotten past phase 2 and you think you're in the safe zone. You're not. What you need to do in this phase is think about the key word, which is cleanse. When that urge was there, not only did it leave some dopamine, but it left traces of a lower vibration. It's still lingering under the surface, so you need to cleanse. If you were in stage 2, that means you had a full-blown urge. You allowed that urge to get inside of you for a decent amount of time. Maybe you will go ahead and able to not succumb to the urge and surpass that urge to rise above that urge, but still that urge was there and it left some traces. So what you have to do is cleanse. In this stage, you can do some alternate nostril breathing. You can do another form of pranayama. You can go do your meditation. You can do your deliberate transmutation by pulling that energy up out of the sexual organ and transmuting it into the solar plexus or into the brain. But during this phase, you need to be very careful because it's very easy to fall back into stage 2. A lot of times you think you're in safe zone. You may have been edging. Then you move out of stage 2 into stage 3. You're not careful and you find yourself back in stage 2 again. So be very careful. Once you start to develop a mastery over these 3 phases, these 3 stages, you're going to find the Nofap path a lot easier to travel.